All right, folks, it is Ask Marty time.
Yeah.
This is where we ask the Hall of Famer to give his thoughts on any and every subject, baseball or non-baseball, always presented by CBTS. Tonight's question comes from the Twitter handle Layman John 7.
Layman John 7, bring it,
Layman John wants to know, Marty.
Yeah, Layman John 7.
What is your biggest fear in life?
You know what? That's a serious question. That's one that I would not make light of, because I think when you reach a certain age in life, maybe there are things that concern you a bit more than maybe they did when you were younger. One of the big fears I have is dying in a hotel room by myself.
All right, boys. That was the real Marty Brenneman there, giving you his take on his biggest fear in life. You heard the story a couple weeks ago. Just thought you'd want to hear it from the source, Kurt.
Yeah, I'm glad you played that. It was I didn't think it could get better, but that was even funnier actually hearing it.
I mean, that's just the most wildest thing to say, just on live television. It's just
That'd be
like,
something I wish I was watching that game live. Did you hear that out of the blue?
Yeah, you're just sitting with your buddies and you're like, did he just say what I thought he said? Like, what an absolute, just a goofball, man. Just a goofball of a move. So welcome back, everybody, to Taking All Bets. If you haven't already, hit like, hit subscribe, rate the show wherever you're listening to it. Kurt, I got like Command Central going on right now. We got the Jays game on right now. They're bottom of the ninth. I'm watching an auction that I'm in on, just trying to pick up some memorabilia. It's just wild right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep tabs on the opening day as well. It's a pretty big day for baseball fans. I'm sure you're watching this too, but got the Jays going bottom of the ninth. Yankees got a man on second, 0 out. So I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, this is tough right now.
1 out.
But they've played well today, eh? Like, I mean, Vladdy, I've been watching it off and on, but I saw Vladdy's been on 3 times.
He's looked really good.
Yeah, he's got his weight finally under control.
It's the defense, though. He's made a few good grabs, a few good stretches from that first base position. He looks like he's finally settling into that spot. And if he can do that, that'll be huge for them this year.
Yeah, I mean, man, to have like a 21-year-old DH is like ridiculous. You need him to be able to play defense. Like, it's just, you can't have a guy that young playing, DHing, only having 4 at-bats and not playing defense. So what'd you get up to?
I was gonna say, especially how deep that bench is. You don't want Vlad DHing when you have all those other options that can DH as well.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, man. Like, they got Kirk, they got Rowdy, they got a lot of guys down there that can swing the twig. So yeah, you definitely want him out on the field. So what'd you get up to this week, bud?
Not too much, unfortunately. Now sounds like we're going to another lockdown, so won't be much for the next little while, it seems like. What about you?
Dude, I gotta tell you, last night I had a big day yesterday. Okay, I had a busy day yesterday, and the Leafs game was on. The Rents were going out for dinner, and I thought, let's pick up some pizza. Why not? I was at the store. I get in my car, I order the pizza, Domino's app. It's got that like beep, 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 like that thing that runs across the screen. Tell you when it's done.
Follow it, track the order.
So it's, 5:45. It's on prep. I go, wait, wow, great. Make my way over to the store. There's about 30 people standing outside of Domino's. I go, what's going on here? Pull up. I sit in my car. It says it's still on prep. It's not even in yet. I go, okay, they're a little busy. Half hour goes by. I'm still on prep as far as the Domino's app is concerned. I'm like, what is going on here? So I go up.
Those apps are pretty accurate too.
Oh my God. Do you remember we knew this guy who was a manager. Actually, I don't know if you were with us, but I knew a guy who was a manager at a Domino's, and he was talking about the thing that just like goes across the screen, tells you where it is. And he's like, yeah, sometimes just people like to hit the buttons. And you're like, oh, so it's not accurate whatsoever.
No way, really?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, sometimes we forget. He's like, sometimes people just like hitting the buttons. I was like, that's insane. So, anyways, I'm up there. There's a lot of people standing there. People are wondering where their pizza is. They're upset. There's people going, I've been here an hour. I go, an hour? I go, I've been sitting in my car a half hour. I thought it'd be ready. No. Dude, what a clusterfuck this was. There's just people running around with their heads cut off. There's people just like periodically coming out of the Domino's asking if you are so and so. I'm like, no. I'm still on prep. This is 45 minutes later. It's now 6:30. And I was like, what is going on? This girl comes up. She goes, oh, are you from the school? I go, no. I'm just a guy getting my pizza. She goes, picked a wrong night to order a pizza. I go, what, Wednesday? Wednesday is the wrong night to order pizza? What? If it was Saturday, I get it. He's like, yeah, schools are doing this thing with, pizza night. And I was like, oh my God, like unbelievable. So I call them. I'm like, hey, where's my pizza? Wow, what a play.
Oh, nice
what
throw
a play by the Blue Jays.
Yeah, huge play.
Got the boy out at home. Kevin Biggio. Anyway, so
you're down. All right. We might survive.
I call them. I'm like, where's my pizza? Like, I've been here 45, 50 minutes. The guy goes, oh, it's an hour wait. You ordered an hour ago. Should be coming out soon. I go, okay. 25 minutes later, the guy finally comes out with my pizza. And it's, by the way, freezing outside. I wore sandals because I just assumed I was going to pick the thing up. And I'll tell you right now, I battled the elements. You might be like, Tucker, did you throw a few elbows? Oh, yeah, I did. 100%. I'm trying to get my pizza. But I have now found out that the Domino's place is the place to hang out if you like to people watch. The people that roll through there are wild.
You get some characters down there, eh?
Oh, there was this girl, just like, I mean, she was a heavy set, not gonna lie. She is yelling outside of the Domino's, we're hungry. I'm like, you're always hungry. Shut up. Go home. The fuck are you talking about? Get out of here. And then there's another woman, dude. I swear to God, if I hadn't seen her face, which I hadn't for the first about 2 seconds I saw her, you would have thought this girl was Gronk. This girl was 6'5", 245 pounds. And I go, she could kill me. She could kill me if she wanted to.
Maybe she's getting ready for the upcoming NFL draft.
It was alarming. Like, this girl was built. And then there's like this like foreign guy. He's yelling at the guy working at the Domino's. And you can tell the guy at the Domino's has heard from this guy before. Because the guy's like, where's my pizza? And the Domino's guy's like, it's not ready, whatever. And just like walks away, just doesn't answer. And I was like, this is just insane. So I'm going to go back there probably every night and just sit outside Domino's and listen to.
See, this story reminds me, I used to work obviously in fast food.
Yep.
A while back. And I do not miss dealing with customers like that. It was not a good experience. And like you said, you're talking about characters. Oh, late night.
Oh,
you get some characters coming in there.
Just rolling in, and you're like, where have you been living?
Just rolling through the lobby. You just look out, immediately. You're like, oh God.
You're like, this is gonna be a problem. This guy's gonna be, oh, nice strikeout. Leafs going next, or Blue Jays. I've been doing that all week, calling them Leafs. I've been doing that all week, calling them Leafs. Blue Jays are going extras. I like it. No, yeah, there's definitely some people where you're like, this is gonna be trouble when this guy rolls in. I was thinking about it actually today, like minimum wage workers, when like everybody growing up had a high school job, and right, it was minimum wage. So did you see that McKinnon and McDavid both got fined for their little stunts this week?
Yep, I did see that.
So if you didn't see it, McDavid threw an elbow on Kotkaniemi from Montreal, and McKinnon threw, was it Connor Garland?
That was hilarious though.
He threw Connor Garland's helmet at Connor Garland. I was like, I've never seen someone do this in my life.
That was one of the funniest things I've seen this year so far.
So I was
tosses the helmet at his face.
It's so insane. I was like, what did he just do? But dude, I was doing the math. So McDavid got fined $5,000. By the way, NHL fines are such a joke. Like they are ridiculous. Like they're like this is chump change to these guys. And I'll
Yeah.
explain here in a minute. Connor McDavid got fined $5,000. The guy makes $12.5 million a year. If they played a full season and Connor McDavid, so 82 games, and Connor McDavid was sitting on the bench for 2 minutes in one game, like the penalty kill, let's say he's on the bench for the penalty kill. That's $5,000 he just made. So like the $5,000 fine means nothing to these guys.
It's like it's not even NHL either. If you look around sports, I'm pretty sure in the CBAs, like it's a certain percentage for whatever the incident is. But like I don't know what that percentage is, but it can't be high. Like you just did the math there, but I'm not sure what the actual percentage is. But how do you negotiate to a percentage that's so low?
Yeah,
that's good. That's good negotiating on the side of the players if that's how it went down.
Like it's crazy. 2 minutes and you're oh, I paid my fine. I worked 2 minutes. That is the equivalent, Kurt, to you working or me working a minimum wage job here in Ontario, $14 an hour. Okay. That is the equivalent of you getting fined 47 cents. Like what? That doesn't even like 47 cents. You would literally not notice it.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Like,
good on you for doing that math.
Hey, I'm a math guy. I told you. Oh, what math? I was supposed to do math from last weekend. Oh, it was comparing decades. I still got to do that. But for the NHL. But yeah, the fines are just like they're chump change to these guys. But like the NBA used to have like really strict fines. Like I forget who it was, maybe RJ Hamilton or something. I forget this guy Rashad Hamilton maybe. He used to get fined all the time, and he had a fine that was like $250,000 one time. That's a fine.
Yeah, and that's when the salaries weren't nearly as high as today.
Like that's a fine. That's something that you would definitely notice.
Got Jonathan Davis on second here with no out in the 10th.
Well, don't they start at second in extras?
You know what? I totally forgot that rule stayed now.
Yeah.
You just mentioned that.
How sweet are these blue unis?
I know. I really like those. Wow. I'm really glad they kept that rule. I totally forgot. I thought that was just last year, and then I forgot they were keeping it.
I mean, I love baseball games, but when you get into 18-inning baseball games, you're like, I've watched 6 hours of baseball.
Also, like if you're not a diehard baseball fan, for the average person, a 3-hour game is too long as it is. It's not like you have intermission and stuff either, right? Like it's a while, and it can be a little slow, I guess, for the casual fan. But
right,
it's a good way to speed up extras, especially if you get deep into an extras game.
Yeah. So how do you feel? Like, I mean, the game's not over yet, but like, let's get into it. Like, I mean, opening day is obviously today. It's Thursday. Teams around the league playing their first game. Randall Greerchuk. Oh, that's over the head of Judge.
That's a good hit.
Jonathan Davis on his way to home.
He took a good bounce off the wall there too.
There will be dude. I should have been a baseball announcer. But like all those like Caribbean names, I would have fucked up. I would have been like Don Cherry. Don Cherry used to be terrible, like purposely, with like Soviet names, like Russian names or Swedish names. Like when they
there's Canadian names he couldn't even do.
Yeah, like but it was all. It came out later.
Longo, Peter Angelo.
Yeah, but it came out later that like with the Europeans, he in private he could say them perfectly, and then he would just think of different ways he could fuck up the names.
So he's an all-time troll.
Yeah, exactly. Don Cherry's the GOAT. I love that.
But going back to what you're talking about opening day, you know what? I think the Jays, if they could just add one more starter. I keep looking at this lineup and I get so excited. Mm-hmm. And I go to the bullpen, I'm like, yeah, it could be worse. And then I look at the starting pitching, I'm like, oh boy. After Hyun-Jin Ryu, he pitched a good game today or so far. Mm-hmm. Like he pitched 5 1/3 and 2 runs, but you're in big trouble getting into the middle end of that rotation, especially with Nate Pearson injured right now. They need, because I think they're relying on him to come back, pitch 120 innings, 130 innings, and be a number 2 pitcher. And that's a lot to throw on a guy who has pitched. How many innings he pitched? Less than 30 last year, right?
Yeah, he has.
So
He's barely pitched.
that's a lot to ask.
Um, yeah, I think you're right with the Jays rotate. The Jays rotation is just kind of like full of a bunch of like inning eaters. Like they just get out there and they pitch innings. They're not going to wow you or anything.
Well,
Like
they're also relying on a lot of guys to have bounce
big
back
years.
seasons, like
Yeah.
Steven Matz. He showed some potential a few years ago, but he was hurt and didn't look the same last year.
Right.
Tanner Rourke was he's kind of just what you said. He pitches a lot of innings, but the guy allows 4 or 5 runs over, or 3 or 4 runs over 5 innings every game. Like you're gonna have to score 5 probably to win when he's in. Who am I saying? Ross Stripling, another guy who he's one of those swingman, right? He can pitch long reliever or starter when guys are hurt or need a like rest, but he's going to be an everyday starter now. So it'll be interesting to see what they got. A couple of young guys like Anthony Kay, but I don't know. I don't see a lot of promise at the back end of that rotation. I think it's only once you get into a couple of months into the season, guys will start to become available. You'll see which teams kind of
Right.
are pretenders here and start to fall off. But guys might become available, and I think the Jays will be a team definitely to add a starter.
Well, I think with this lineup that they have, I mean, they can, if they just had, if they had decent starting pitching, they could compete um in the AL East and in the American League. I mean, they just don't like, yeah, it's the pitching that just, you kind of shake your head at and you're like, I don't know about this. But there's other pitchers that are available. Like I think Jake Odorizzi signed with anybody, or did he sign with Minnesota? I think we talked about this the other week.
I can't actually remember who he signed with. He signed with something. Might have been, I think Minnesota might have been.
But like, I mean, there's other pitchers available, and so I think when you don't have the quality, what they're going with is they don't have the quality, so they're just going to go with the quantity. They're just going to go with a bunch of guys who can eat innings.
Yeah, and they got guys that some more depth than they've had in prior years. If guys go down, which they already have, like I said, Pearson. Oh, Robbie Ray is a guy I forgot to mention. He looked really good in spring, but
he did.
He already fell down the stairs. He's already hurt. So a tough start when it comes to injuries for them too. Springer on the IL. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
So obviously you're gonna be watching a lot of Jays games, but what other teams are you gonna be tuning into this year?
The White Sox. I'll be checking them out. I'll be paying attention to them. Obviously, they have the AL MVP on their team, Jose Abreu. They got a lot of young players. But there's another thing about the White Sox is we've been saying this about the White Sox for the last 5 years, where we go, oh, is this it? Like I remember the year Melky Cabrera went there. There was a few other free agents that went there. And people were like, "Oh, like they got a chance. Like they could do some damage," and then they just did nothing.
Yeah,
But
I was reading an article about basically for their fans' sake, it'd be nice if they were actually a legitimate contender, like I guess analysts and we're kind of thinking they are, because they haven't been really good till like 05, 06. Like it's been a while now.
So, literally since they won the World Series, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm on the same page though. That'll definitely be a team with that. They're they're an all around good team actually. I was gonna say with that young talent, young good lineup, but they got good pitchers too, Giolito. So yeah,
Angels would be another one for me.
I mean, you can't miss Mike Trout. So, but even now, Anthony Shohei Ohtani too. He's healthy. He was I think he hit 100 on the gun too, pitching, and he hit like 400 something foot bomb. They were in the same game. Like
he's crazy.
He's an exciting guy. Anthony Rendon's good. So, yep, that'll be a fun team as well. The Padres.
Those are Padres. Yeah, Padres. I mean, they're the Padres, the Dodgers. Yeah, teams like that. But the Angels, I really find interesting, and I really find the White Sox interesting to watch. I want to see, and maybe if I need a laugh, watch the Orioles or something. But
do you have a team that you think isn't getting enough credit so far after the offseason?
That hasn't been getting enough credit?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I mean, I would say Oh, that's a tough one. I would my mind immediately went to Minnesota just because they were able to, you know, just bring back some guys. That's all. Um, and for not a big market team, that's pretty good of them. Um, I mean, it's just the big ones, right? Like it's just like the Padres, it's the Blue Jays, it's um. What do you think? I mean, I don't.
All
My
right.
mind went to Minnesota, but
I kind of have two teams that I'm thinking of, and I don't like saying this because they're in our division, obviously the AL East, but I know they lost some key guys, but like the Rays were just in the World Series, and like no one's talking about how they're not getting any credit, which surprises me.
right.
I understand, and I don't think they're going to be maybe at that same level, but they still got a lot of good players there. Rosarena is breaking out in the playoffs last year. Hopefully, he continues that this year, and they could still battle for a wild card spot. So I think another team too, the Red Sox. They made some
Okay.
sneaky additions, and I know they were quiet, but they still got Bogarts, Martinez, Rafael Devers. They're not a
Mm-hmm.
bad team. So
Chris Sale, yeah,
I
yeah,
like
they're
there's
sneaky.
those two teams. I think they no one really discussed that they even had an opportunity, I guess, because the Jays and the Yankees are in that division, but I wouldn't count them out just yet.
No, yeah, that's true. I mean, when you put it like that, they're a sneaky team. Um, yeah, man, I'm just like kind of drawing like I'm just kind of drawing a blank on what teams made big. I mean, there's so many moves right every year. It's just hard to try to keep track of them all. Which leads me in. Do you want to get into it now? Do you want to
Let's
get
do
into
it.
this now?
Yeah.
All right. So we played this game a few weeks ago. We did it for hockey. We didn't have a name for it yet. So I named it Old Faces, New Threads. So basically, established players who are now on new teams. So we're gonna do this for baseball because obviously it's opening day. We're in the mood, and we thought it'd be good timing to do this. So, do you wanna go first? Do you want to give me a player first, and I'll try to guess which team he plays for?
Yeah, sure. I'll lead it off.
Okay.
We're gonna lead off here with Hunter Strickland.
Hunter Strickland. He was a giant for a long time. He had that fight with Bryce Harper. Hunter Strickland. I am going to say, I mean, yeah, this is going to be tough. I am going to say Washington.
Tampa Bay.
Damn.
I was thinking before we
Wrong.
did this. I was thinking before we did this. I feel like this is going to be a little uglier than hockey was.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be because there's more players.
There's way more players, but also the season hasn't even started. Like you know how you followed the off season, but hockey's been going hard. Basketball has been
Right.
on. There's been other stuff. Football has been always
You
busy.
see
So
them. You've seen them.
you're watching, you're following that stuff. So you're keeping track on baseball, but like once opening day hits, I start to really dive in. I feel like you're probably the same way. So like
Right.
it's kind of hard. You start noticing where guys are, all these little changes. Because these aren't, it's not like these are notable. It's like Francisco Lindor, right?
Hmm.
So these aren't, I guess, the biggest names. But yeah, I feel
Right.
like hockey was a little easier. It was partway through the season. So we'll see how this
Francisco got a
goes.
big pay raise, eh?
Oh
That was
my
huge.
gosh.
Was that 320 million?
340 million, 340,
340. Wow.
10 years.
What a move up. All right. Your first player, Curtis. Where does Adam Duvall play? Adam
Is it
Duvall.
Cincinnati?
That's your guess?
Yeah.
Wrong. He now
Where?
plays for the Miami Marlins, but he
Oh,
did play for Cincinnati. He did play for Cincinnati. I think last year
yeah,
he
was
played
it?
for Cincinnati. So we're both
Jeez.
0 for 1.
It's
0
tough.
for 1. This is going to be rough. All right. What do you got for me?
All right. The second one I got here, Brock Holt.
Brock Holt.
A key Red
Utility
Sox for a
man.
while.
Yeah. Big utility man. Like I think he plays like every position, like literally every position. Brock Holt. I'm stuck between two teams. I am going to say Kansas City.
Unfortunately, it's the Texas Rangers.
All right, that was not either of the teams I was thinking of. Neither of the teams I was thinking of. Wow, this is sad. We got Stanton at the plate here. Julian Merriweather with a slider down in the zone.
That's a nice
at 88.
pitch.
Giancarlo Stanton at the dish. I swear to God, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'm gonna release a podcast of me just watching a baseball game and just get distracted in the second inning.
How many players do you want to do here? Do you want to do 3 or do you want to do more?
Well, how many do you got? How many you got written down?
I came prepared. I didn't know maybe you might pick the same one as me, so I came prepared.
Right. I got 5 written down.
Okay.
Okay.
We can do 5.
All right. Where does Adam Ottavino play, Kurt?
Adam Ottavino. Wow, this is
right-handed slider specialist.
I'm pretty sure he was in Cincinnati, but I don't want to say Cincinnati again because I don't think he's there anymore. I feel like he was in Miami too. This is bad because both the teams like I feel like I recognize him from a few teams. This is tough. Is it just me too, or do baseball players move around more than like other sports? Like especially relief pitchers. Like a bullpen is never the same.
Oh yeah, they move around so much. Maybe not basketball, which we'll get into, but they move around a lot.
Adam Ottavino.
Longtime Colorado Rocky
Yeah.
and New York Yankee.
That's the Yankees is the one I was thinking of him, and then I was trying to think where did he go after? Oh God. I'll go. Is he on the Marlins?
That is incorrect. Adam Ottavino plays for, you just mentioned them, the Boston Red Sox.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he got moved there.
Yeah, this game sucks.
This game is rough. People are like, these guys don't know shit. All right, what else?
Give us a break. We're 2 hours into the season.
Yeah,
I haven't been able to watch a full game yet.
Exactly. All right, what do you got for me?
All right. The longtime Blue Jay, the lefty Aaron Loop. Where does he play?
Oh, Aaron Loop.
You know it's bad when it starts off with a sigh like that.
Yeah, shit. I got down to 2, but that didn't work out for me either last time.
We might have to cut this off at 3.
I'm gonna say Philadelphia.
It's the New York Mets.
Oh my God.
Yeah, wait, bro. We might have to cut this off at 3.
All right, let's just go fast. All right. Former J.A. Happ.
Minnesota Twins.
You got it. All right. Give you another one. The Panda, Pablo Sandoval. Where does he play?
He still plays?
That surprised me too, actually, when I looked it up.
Is it the Giants?
The Braves.
Oh, it's the Braves now.
The funniest thing ever about Pablo Sandoval was when he was playing in Toronto and he was playing for the Red Sox, and Buck Martinez is like, yeah, Pablo Sandoval has had problems with his weight. It's been rumored that he's not has the best diet, and the immediate next play was a ground ball to third where Pablo Sandoval snapped his belt in half going for a ground ball. It was an all-time moment. Jays win.
Let's go.
Love
First
that. Dub of the year.
We only have 161 more to go. We're going
exactly
162 and 0.
That's exactly right. All right.
I got one player for you.
Okay. Oh, by the way, another thing about Pablo Sandoval, he was so heavy, right? There was rumors that he would come out of the games in the third inning because he'd be cramping up, because he'd be putting like Coca-Cola in his Gatorade bottle, like one of those like water bottles. He would just have Coke in there, and he'd just be.
Didn't like water, eh?
Didn't like water. All right, who do you got for me?
Another former J, Aaron Sanchez.
He plays still? I didn't even know he played.
Yeah,
I
he
honestly
plays.
thought he was a free agent.
No, he plays.
Shit. I don't know. Astros.
No, it's the Giants.
The Giants. God damn it. All right. Nomar Mazara. Former Ranger.
He plays
Big
on the
lefty.
Twins too. Oh, wait. Yeah, the Twins. It's the Twins.
Plays for the Tigers.
No way. I knew it
Yeah.
was that division too.
There you go. All right. Who else
Ah,
do you got for me? Let's see if I can even
all
get on
right.
the board in this game.
Last one. I might take the W with a 1-0 victory. Asdrubal Cabrera.
He played for Washington. Or no, is he on Washington? It's Drupal Cabrera. I'm going to guess Washington.
It's the Arizona Diamondbacks.
All right, so I got shut out in that entire game. Wow, that's embarrassing. That's just embarrassing.
This is a tough segment. This was yeah.
It was 10
The
minutes of
hockey
hell.
one went a lot better for us, but
Yeah,
we'll blame it on the. We're like I said, we're 3 hours into the baseball season now. No
exactly.
games. There's been like what, a handful of games completed today. Give us a break. We'll be better next time.
We'll be
Moving
better.
on.
Yeah, don't be disappointed in us. So we were talking about movement just a minute ago, player movement. So DeMarcus Cousins, I don't know if he officially signed or he was going to sign, but he's going to the Clippers. Dude, this league, I'm sorry, but like you can just hate me. This league fucking sucks.
It's
I mean,
honestly, I was literally about to say when I'm looking at all the moves. I was just going through some NBA transactions and just looking, obviously, because the two LA teams, Brooklyn, looking at the playoff picture. And I was like, my God, like, is it kind of just these notable names who aren't as good as they used to be now, just joining every year? This seems to happen. They just join contenders, the top
yeah,
four teams. It happens it's so annoying. It's like there's no parity in this league. Zero.
dude, people thought it was bad. People thought it was bad when LeBron went to the Heat with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade was already there. People thought that was bad. Then they thought it was bad when LeBron went back to Cleveland and they traded for Kevin Love. They thought that was bad. They even thought the Warriors were bad, which it was a bad move to go 72 or 73-9 and then go sign Kevin Durant. Like that's just like a bad look on Kevin Durant's part, meaning. But dude, this is so out of control right now that you have Blake Griffin, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, LaMarcus Aldridge, DeAndre Jordan, Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, what is going on? Like, how does the commissioner not look at this and go like, no, you can't do that. That's insane. Like the competitive balance is just completely gone from this league.
I saw a TikTok recently, and Spencer Dinwiddie. They're like, when Spencer Dinwiddie returns from injury, and you know that Drake song, how does it go? It's like I knew way too many, the song I'm talking about? People that I'm trying to think of the lyric.
I'm a Drake listener, not gonna lie.
Really?
Surprisingly, yeah.
You don't like Drake? You don't like
I
him or
don't like
listen to him?
rap.
Wow.
So disappointed.
I'm not mad. I'm just a little disappointed.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, never mind then. You know what? This is I don't
It is what it is.
I'm kind of upset. I don't really want to talk about this anymore.
He's upset.
I don't even want to tell you now.
Okay. Well, finish what you're gonna say.
No, don't worry about it.
All right, whatever.
It was
This league sucks. That's just it. I mean, DeMarcus Cousins going to the Clippers. Not that he's really that good anymore, but he's going to the Clippers. You already got the Lakers. You already got the 76ers. You have Brooklyn now, which is just ridiculous. I mean, I can tell you right now, I'm watching 0 games the rest of the year. Like this is just ridiculous at this point. I'm
just gonna watch the finals.
Yeah, I'll watch the finals because at least it'll be 2 competitive teams. Like this is just stupid at this point. So, dude, I gotta ask you. We were talking about like hockey and all these like these fines and whatever. But then I saw this other thing about hockey. So there's this podcast called the Hockey Illuminati, I think, or something like that. I don't even know the guy who's on it. I just saw it on TikTok.
Okay.
He said, I want to get your opinion from an outside source. He said that John Tavares is not a top 20 center anymore.
I saw that TikTok.
Yeah. When you first hear it, you're like, okay, maybe, okay, like top 20. Yeah, that's an exclusive group. Then he started naming some of the centers he would take over John Tavares. I want to get your opinion on some of these. Because if he's insinuating these guys are in the top 20, like this is just ridiculous. But some of these guys, I'm like, what? All right. The most outrageous, I think. Would you rather take John Tavares or Joe Pavelski?
I knew you were gonna say that one because that was the only one that really. We'll talk about this more, but that was the one that I was like, okay, no, obviously I'm taking Tavares, but I'll let you go through the rest first you had, but yeah, definitely I would take Tavares over Pavelski.
All right, yeah, just quick hitters. Who you would take? So you're taking Tavares over Pavelski. Tavares over Bo Horvat.
Yeah, I'm taking Tavares, but I don't think Horvat gets a lot of credit for what he does as a role player too. Like, he does a lot more than if you just look at the state like points. Yeah, obviously I'm taking Tavares, but Horvat does a lot. He's a good two-way guy. He's a gritty guy. He does a lot more on the ice, but I'm still taking Tavares.
Yeah. I mean, I'd take Tavares too. John Tavares or Mika Zibanejad?
Zibanejad.
Okay. John Tavares or Sebastian Aho?
Oh, Sebastian Aho, easy.
John Tavares or Evgeny Malkin?
Evgeny Malkin.
John Tavares or Matt Barzal?
Matt Barzal.
All right. John Tavares or Steven Stamkos?
Stamkos.
All right. So okay. I'm going to give you my take. Stamkos, I'm taking Tavares because Stamkos can't stay on the ice. He's hurt all the time. So I'm taking John Tavares. I agree. John Tavares over Joe Pavelski. I agree with that. Tavares over Bo Horvat. That's not even a question. Like John Tavares should be offended that guy's even in the conversation with him. And by the way, Bo Horvat's not even the best player on his best center on his team. So I don't even know what the guys. Let's see. There's some other. So Barzal. I could see where you would take Barzal. I mean, Barzal is younger, so I would take Barzal. He had Alexander Barkov. I would take Barkov. Tavares or Backstrom?
If you say Tavares, I'm going to be incredibly disrespected. I might just leave this if you say Tavares right now.
I'm thinking who I'd rather take between Tavares and Backstrom.
I'll elaborate after you give your answer because I got a lot to say on that.
I'm going to take Tavares.
Wow.
Are they the same age? Or are they close? Or is Backstrom's
a couple years older? Okay, but the thing is, you're like, the way you're picking. I know because you look at the goals and the stats of Tavares, and the last couple of years they've been good, right?
Right.
A lot of those centers on that list, from the center position, it's vital to be good on both ends of the ice. Like Backstrom is an incredibly underrated two-way center. He also is
Tavares is getting better though. Tavares this year, he is. I mean, I was complaining a few weeks ago about how many turnovers the guy has. He does turn the puck over a lot, but he's getting better.
I always say this too. I don't think he's a guy that's going to age really well. Like with with his skating ability, it worries me. And you can already see it. Like each year, almost he's been there, it seems like he's getting a little worse. And this year, like his stats have started to drop off more. It's not that I wouldn't. He's in that that category, the top 20, obviously. And those guys you named are probably there's like Horvat, obviously not. Pavelski, no. But Backstrom, I would say yes. Malkin, still yes. Those guys are still ahead of him because I just think he's dropped off. Stamkos, the Stamkos one, if that's being taken into consideration, the health thing, I guess. But you didn't ask me who am I starting my team with or Like you
Right.
asked me who's the better player. Steven Stamkos is still a better player than John Tavares is. He's 31 points this year. Like, it's not like he's come back. He's stayed on the ice. He's been really good.
Right, but John Tavares has what, 27,
6.
28 points?
Like it's still less.
I mean, he's on
So like
pace though with him. He's
it's
keeping up to him.
it's close. I guess if we looked at the points per game, I guess, but like I still think Stamkos. Unless if you're taking that into consideration, the injury thing. Okay, yes, but
Right.
I would still take Stammer if you're just
So-
talking strictly better player.
The other one that I really took offense with this one was Mika Zibanejad. John Tavares is a better player. Mika Zibanejad. Like Mika, if you take out, okay, he has like 27 points or something like that. Mika.
Yeah,
He has 2 games in which he had 6 points in each, I think. You take those games out. So how many games did they play? Let's say they played 32, okay? But which would not be far off. If they played 32 games, 2 of those he had 6 points. That means in 30 games he's had 15 points.
I also think he had a really slow start. Like he's incredibly talented in the last 10, 12 games, whatever. He's been way better. And that's what we saw last year. Like what was
Right.
he? 3rd in the league in goals?
He was good
I
at
think-
the end. Yeah.
I also think that is a little bit of recency bias, like his success in recency over like instead
That's
of the
what I'm saying,
overall
yeah.
body of work.
Right.
But I still think I'd take Zibanejad right now. Like I've luckily like just because they're in my division, I've watched a lot of Rangers games. He can be a game breaker.
So the other
Like,
ones were Tavares or Ryan O'Reilly. I would take O'Reilly.
That's where
I
I
would
go
take
back to
O'Reilly.
that. That's why I go back to the argument about the two-way game. Like
Right.
even if Tavares scores 10 more points than O'Reilly, I definitely would take O'Reilly because he just does so much on
Right.
the ice. Right.
I would take. That's also why I would take Barkov over Tavares.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I agree.
I would take. So then there was Tavares versus Kopitar. I would take Tavares.
No way.
Yeah. Kopitar's having a good year, but I mean, he's
Good
old.
year.
He's
How-
34, 35. He's old.
So
Like he's not
still-
gonna lie. It's like Joe
Wait,
Pavelski.
wait. But that's why you're not taking him because he's old.
I'm taking
He's
him because
still-
he's
you-
older.
He's older, but he's having a good year.
He's
Like, this is
having
one of his
he's
best
having
years. He's-
one
he's-
good year in the last 3.
I mean, look at the team he's played with, though. Who's his wingers? Dustin Brown?
True.
I don't know. Like, I get what you're saying, too, because Tavares, I want to say it's just because of the team, like, too, that helps, but he's also a big reason why they are productive. So I
Right.
can't really I don't hold that against him. But
Right.
when you're looking at certain guys like Kopitar, you're looking at the extremes, that's an extreme just because that lineup has been so bad. And he's
Right.
still been their best player every year.
I would say the Tavares versus Malkin. I'd still take Malkin. Aho and Tavares. I would take, if I'm a GM, I want Aho or Tavares. How old is Aho? Aho's a lot younger.
23, 24.
Yeah, you'd probably, yeah. I would take Aho. If you're doing it for 1 year, I'd take Tavares. But if you're building your team, I would take Aho. Yeah, I had to get that off my chest. I saw that and I was like, that's ridiculous. You had written down here some Leafs goaltending. What do you want to
Yeah.
talk about it?
So Jack Campbell last night looked really good. Freddie Anderson hasn't. But then we go into the situation. I was watching the game and I was listening to what they were saying during the intermission. There's been injury problems with both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want them to make a move for a goalie at the deadline?
I don't really see why you have to. Like, I am beyond frustrated with Freddie Anderson's play. I also do not buy the story that he played through an injury. If you watch the Leafs consistently, anytime this guy gets bumped, he's not playing the next game. This guy doesn't play through injuries. This guy's he's like 10-ply toilet paper. He's soft. Okay. I don't buy that. That's just something they're making up to account for him not playing well. And he hasn't been around the team. So I don't buy it. Jack Campbell, he's kind of soft too. I'm not going to lie. I mean, They're
It's
saying he's
just
not 100%, but it is what it is. Like it's
it's just
whatever.
the injury problems that worry me with him. Like
Right.
he's played what 6, 7 games now this year. Like his body of work is so small because he can't stay on the ice. Like it's just
Right.
really like he's shown that he has some talent. I don't know like if I would still want him to be a number one goalie, but he's shown that he's more than capable of being one of the better backups. It's his ability to stay on the ice. And has he ever played back to back games for them? Like
Not sure.
when there's 2 games, I don't think he started 2 games in a row.
But I think you have Campbell. He's playing really well. He's 7-0 for the Leafs this year with like a 1.5 goals against. Like it's just, I mean, he's played really, really, really well. And unless the Leafs can make a move for, say, Darcy Kemper or something from Arizona, or that level of goalie, I wouldn't make a move. I wouldn't prioritize it. I think Jack Campbell. I mean, we saw the Stars do it, right? They took Doobie into. They took him all the way to. He took them all the way to the Cup final. So I don't think that it's necessary for the Leafs. I mean, I think Jack Campbell. I think Jack Campbell's a starting goalie in the NHL. I really do. As long as he can stay healthy, which is the big question, I think he's a starting goalie.
I also believe too, like there's nothing wrong with you don't need to come out and say this is our number one starter, this is our workhorse. Right. Look at all the teams that have used 2 goalies and won the cup.
Yeah, exactly.
St. Louis, Binnington, I know he was when they made the run, he became the starter, but he didn't come the second half of the year. He was in the minors until the second half of the year.
Exactly.
Like he started that season. I'm pretty sure it's the backup in the minors. So don't like, and then you still had Jake Allen there, who was a good goalie. We're seeing that in Montreal. But the year before, Washington, Philip Grubauer started the first 2 games of the playoffs that year because Holtby had a bad regular season. And then Holtby picked it up like in the playoffs and ended up leading them to the cup. The 2 years prior, Matt Murray and Fleury.
Right. I was gonna just say that. Yeah.
So like, I don't want to hear, but outside of Tampa Bay, because Vasilevsky's just he's a different, like, you know what? Like he's one of those different goalies. You don't see that all the time. Like that's rare. But other than that, that's an outlier. Teams have shown 2 goalies. You don't need that number one workhorse goalie to win the cup. You need good goaltending, not a number one workhorse goalie.
Yeah. I mean, like, let's just look at like the Leafs. Like the Leafs goaltending situation this year has been terrible. It's just been odd. Like Michael Hutchinson is starting games for you. Going into the season, he was your number 4 goalie. Like Dell got picked up on waivers. Freddie's not playing well. So I think he's just sitting. Freddie's not playing well. Campbell got hurt for 3-4 weeks, and then he came back and he was kind of gone. They just didn't know what was going on with him. And so now you got Hutch. Like Hutch was your 4th goalie, and he's starting games for you. It's just been terrible for the Leafs this year. But I think if Campbell can stay healthy, and the Leafs look good. I mean, I think they're coming out of their slump. They look good now. As long as they have adequate, like I've said this all year, as long as they have adequate goaltending, the rest of the team is going to carry them all the way. Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate what's going on with the goaltending right now, but I wouldn't prioritize it in a trade necessarily. I would look for a forward. I would look for a heavy forward, and although Alex Galchenyuk's looked good, he's looked kind of reinvigorated.
Seems to be making the most of that opportunity. But what about the Buffalo Sabres?
Oh my God. Dude, these guys, they finally got a win. Hallelujah. They finally got a win. But they lost 18 straight. They lost 18 straight. Yeah, there's no other way. Like overtime wins or overtime losses,
straight
whatever.
Hockey games.
That's so long. Like a regular season, that's a quarter of your season almost that you just lost. Like it's so crazy. That's so terrible.
That is difficult to do. I don't care how bad you are. That is difficult to do.
That's what I said to somebody. I go, winning 18 straight is like impossible. Losing 18 straight is just as hard.
Oh yeah.
Like it's hard to do. But it's the most losses in the 21st century. Or tied for the most losses, I should say.
And like that's all those, if you look at that list, all those teams are either expansion teams or
Yeah,
back in
exactly.
the day when the parity of the NHL was not near what it is. Nowadays, even a last place team still finds a way to beat like a decent team
Right.
some nights. Like it's
Well,
just
like
there's just so much parity in the NHL, right?
like the Senators always give the Leafs problems, right? And that's
Yeah,
top of
that's
the
a good
division versus
example.
bottom of the man. Sports math, hockey math is so weird how it works, right? Like the Senators go into Toronto and they give Toronto problems, even knowing Toronto's the top of the division. And it's always one goal games, overtime games. Sometimes Toronto even loses. And then Ottawa will go to Edmonton and they'll get their ass kicked by Edmonton. Like I think Edmonton's like 7-0 against them this year. And then Edmonton will come to Toronto and they'll lose to Toronto. Like
That's one of the reasons
consistently.
I
It just
love
doesn't make
hockey, though.
sense. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I love the NHL. The pair, like, it just makes it so fun to watch. We've seen it in the playoffs the last few years too. Like, never seen more underdogs be able to pull off upsets. It just makes it a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it's I mean, NHL is the best league in the world, I'd say.
Should we get into some football?
Yeah, let's get into football. Why not? So NFL expanded the season to 17 games this upcoming year. Um, is this just a complete revenue and financial move for the league, Kurt?
I think it like I would say so, but it's also like if you're a fan or even if you're a player, why do you care if you get the fourth? Like, wouldn't you just take the 17th game instead of a fourth preseason game?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just
That
doesn't
makes
seem
sense.
it seems even sillier now when you change it to look back and say, wow, we played 4 preseason games.
Yeah, you don't need
Like the
4
starters
preseason games.
yeah, like the training camp's long enough and they don't play anyways. Starters barely play in the preseason. Like it's just so unnecessary that I'm fine with that. And I'm sure the players are fine with playing one more meaningful game than
Right.
having a fourth preseason game.
The thing though with the 17 games is any record that somebody breaks is not valid. You know what I
No,
mean?
that's
Like
true.
you
Like
played an
passing
extra
yards and
game.
touchdowns.
So that's the other
Yeah.
thing. Like if you have, there was a somebody, maybe CBS put it out, where it was like, imagine if these guys had one more game to play, and it was like Peyton Manning with his passing yards, Calvin Johnson with his receiving yards, and Eric Dickerson with his rushing yards, and like their numbers are insane. And you're like, yeah, if they did have one more game to play, they'd be even more ludicrous. So now any record that's broken, you're like, nah,
That's a good point. I didn't really. I guess I was just too excited that we have one more game of football, but
right.
I didn't really consider that. Yeah, I guess when we see passing year leaders in 5 years, obviously it's going to be Patrick Mahomes is 3 times or
Right.
whoever, right? Because
Until it's like
they're going to throw
years
fifty
down the
five
road,
hundred
though.
yards.
Until it's years down the
Yeah,
road, though.
you'll have to give it a while for enough guys
Yeah.
to come through the league. But
Because like when you look at like say Maurice Richard, right? He had like the most goals but he only played like 40 games a year. So like of
mhm.
course, like now they play twice as many. Of course he's not gonna be the leader. So it have to be like years down the road where people forget Peyton Manning or they forget Calvin Johnson. Like it's gonna be a while before anybody really
Yeah,
accepts those records. Um Yeah, yeah. So what do you think about the draft coming up?
I'm I'm really excited for this one. There's It's weird because usually I find I'm looking at the draft. I guess I think all years differ, but usually you want there to be a lot of good quarterbacks, but there's more linemen, there's more
Mm-hmm.
defensive players, which is I love that. If you love football, you love those positions too. But everyone wants to talk about the exciting quarterbacks, right?
Right,
But
of
it
course.
feels like this year there's just more top end talent at the quarterback position. There's going to be more high picks that are QBs. And that just makes it, as a fan, that always just makes it really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously quarterbacks, they're the centerpiece of a team. They're always going to be talked about. That's where the media focuses on the most is the quarterback position. But yeah, there's so many quarterbacks in this draft that you could potentially see even in the top five draft selections. Um, how many do you think are going in the top five?
I'm gonna say three. There's a possibility of 4,
Right.
but I'm thinking 3. It sounds like, so obviously we know Trevor Lawrence is going to the Jaguars at 1.
Or is he?
I
You,
think
you
I
think
think
it's
he
for sure
is.
he's going number 1?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
lock that in.
Okay.
Now, I think Zach Wilson, who had a really good pro day, I just think he's too good of a talent for the Jets to pass up.
Right.
So I'm gonna say that they take him at 2. And
Mhm.
now it sounds like the 49ers are really interested in Mac Jones. But
Out
I
of
don't like I
Alabama.
was looking I was looking at they were showing the pro days and stuff. Justin Fields had a really good pro day,
He was so good in
but
the playoffs for Ohio State. Like when he
he
played against
was.
Trevor Lawrence, you were like,
He's such a good
Justin
athlete.
Fields might be the pick here. You know, I mean, obviously Trevor
So
Lawrence I think is better, but
I'm thinking that based on the rumors, it was sounding like Mac Jones, but don't rule out Justin Field at 3. Now this is where it gets fun though. So Kyle Pitts, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he's the highest ranked tight end drafted draft rankings. He
yeah,
might of all time. They might have said like his just after the
really,
pro day, yeah, like he ran like a 4.4 something crazy for
I
a
did
tight
see that.
end.
That's
He's like
insane.
he's like 6'5", just an insane athlete. Like one of those can't miss tight end prospects. And just the way the game is now, you can if you look at Travis Kelce, George Kittle, right?
Right.
How dominant they can be. So I'm gonna say the Falcons, he's too good of a talent for them to not take him there. Obviously, if they want to go down the route of a QB, they could as well, I guess, whoever's remaining, Mac Jones or Justin Fields. But I really think that they're going to take Kyle Pitts. But
Okay.
if so, I'll say if they do that, that leaves Penei Sewell from Oregon, huge offensive tackle. Just another, I don't know what it is this year, but all these guys, it seems like the top 10 just freak athletes. So
Right.
he's another one that I think, and we saw the injury to Burrow, right? I think they got to go offensive line. He's the best offensive line prospect in the draft this year. So I think he'll go at 5. And that's my predicted top 5.
Right.
So
I
yeah,
think that I think the top 3 are pretty set. I think those are who are your top 3. Lawrence, Wilson, Jones. I agree with you. The Bengals need an offensive lineman. I agree that I think 3 is a good number. I think that's how many quarterbacks will go in the top 5. I still think the Patriots will move up, and I think they'll try to get Justin Fields. Um, I don't know where he might be slotted right now as far as
that's
projections go.
that's what I'm looking. If you look at so then it's the Dolphins who follow up the Bengals.
Right.
So their first opportunity, I think, realistic opportunity for the Patriots to move up. I think the Dolphins are set on Tua, and if they
Yeah.
they wouldn't draft another QB. They'd go a different route, like a trade for Deshaun Watson or something along those routes,
Mm-hmm.
someone established. So I think you're safe that I think they're gonna go Jamar Chase from LSU. Because just to give Tua more weapons.
Yeah.
So I think realistically, the first opportunity that someone would take it would be the Lions at 7. They could
Now
take
they have Jared
Fields.
Goff.
I know, but is he really the guy they
No,
want
I
for the
don't think so.
future?
But management there
Exactly.
is so incompetent that they might,
I
you know
don't
what
know.
I mean?
I realistically think they could see Justin Fields. He could sit for a year. He could be the guy of the future. Jared Goff is more of a placeholder because next year it's only a 10 million dead cap hit if they release him, which isn't a big deal.
Right.
So that could be a realistic situation. But I feel like just because they have a lot of needs, they wouldn't be opposed to trading for a couple first rounders and a later pick for that 7th pick or
Right.
whatever that ends up being. So that could be the first opportunity the Patriots take to move up.
Yeah. I think
I could see
you're right.
7.
7. You might be able to get away with 8, but probably 7. If you really want Fields, you'll trade for 7 and you'll
That's what I think. if you really, if they really want him and they're moving up to get him, it would be realistically, it looks like 7 would be the spot.
See now, this projection I'm looking at, the Patriots are at 15. They got them taking Trey Lance from North Dakota State. He's a sophomore.
He's good too.
Yeah, so it depends. Would you rather have Lance? Would you rather have Fields? I think I'd rather have Fields.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a junior. He's a year older. You kind of know what you got there more so. Man, this draft is going to be sweet, especially how it's running. It's not, we
get the real thing
satellites
back, the real atmosphere.
I mean, I did love Bill Belichick with his dog.
That was funny.
Just the dog making picks. Bill Belichick is like such a troll. Like anything the league tries to do, he's just like, I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna do anything I can to screw it up for you. It's so exciting. It's gonna be so good. Did you watch the fight on the weekend? Stipe versus Francis?
I was following it, but I didn't get to see it.
So I turned it on in the Sean O'Malley fight, where Sean O'Malley was just kicking ass and taking names. That kid's gonna be good.
Oh yeah.
But the full fights that I watched were Tyron Woodley against Vincent or Vicente Luque. I think Vicente Luque was his name. And Woodley came out and he was so aggressive. Like he looked like his old self, where he just came out and he was just throwing bombs. He was really pressing Luque, and he was landing huge shots. And they were like, oh, like even Joe Rogan was like, this is going to be interesting here. Like he is landing big blows. Went for a big uppercut and he just got tagged hard. Woodley did, and Woodley was. Have you ever seen someone have you legitimately ever seen someone knocked out on their feet? Like we always talk, like it's always a saying, but like,
yeah, I don't know if I can like picture it actually happening.
Dude, it's scary. Like it's actually like disturbing to watch, because the guy Woodley was out on his feet. His legs went stiff as a board. His knees wouldn't bend. Like they are straight. And he is completely out of it. And he's stumbling around the octagon, trying to find anything he can hold on to. Like he grabs the cage to hold himself up. And then he's leaning back on the cage. And he's just throwing these looping fists, just trying to like fend Luque off, just try to get him away from him. And then it was like really like the ref should have stopped it. He really, I think, because Woodley was,
he was out of it.
He was done. Woodley threw a punch and he missed Luque, and his momentum carried him across the octagon while his legs were not bending. And I was like, this looks terrible.
That's tough.
Anyways, but Woodley did land some big shots while he was in this state. Anyways, Luque got him down, got him in a choke, and Woodley had to tap out. So I think that's 4 in a row that Woodley's lost. He's 39 years old or something. I think it's probably time for him to hang it up. But then it came the main event, Stipe versus Francis. And I was sweating for this one. I go, this is going to be over in 30 seconds, or this is going to be an all-night event, and Stipe is going to win. Francis looked so different. He was saying he was different going into the fight. He looked so much better than he had ever before. He was way more patient. He was calm. He had Stipe hurt in the first round, and he attacked. He went in there. He started throwing big blows. But when he realized Stipe wasn't going down, he was defending himself well, Francis backed off. He was like, okay, I'm going to conserve my energy, because he's 265 pounds. He's a big man.
Yeah.
And so, and the storyline kind of going in was, obviously, is Francis different? But Stipe came in 10 pounds lighter than he did the previous time they fought. So now it's a 30-pound difference, which is what we were talking about last week with how the heavyweight division is just wild with how the discrepancies when it comes to
wide
weight.
range of weights. Yeah. And it makes a big difference.
Huge difference. So, anyways, Francis is way more composed. Stipe actually goes for a takedown, and Francis blocked it. And Rogan's going like, that is huge. Like if you like now that he's showing he can stop Stipe from taking him to the ground, he can keep the fight on their feet. They get to the end of the first round, and now everyone's like, well, that was kind of it. Like, now is Stipe gonna come on here? Dude, Francis landed huge shots. He got I think it was a straight right in on Stipe, knocked him down, just attacked him, and he knocked him out. So Francis Ngannou is the new heavyweight champion of the world. This guy's scary. This guy's the scariest guy since Tyson. I swear. Like, he's a freak.
Yeah, he is frightening. He's probably the scariest fighter on the planet right now.
No doubt. No doubt. This guy's so marketable. He's such a nice guy. His story is unreal. He did a podcast with Rogan, and his story from coming from Cameroon is just incredible. Now of course everyone's talking about what's the fight to make next. I don't know where this comes from, but I feel as though if you're Dana White, out of respect to Stipe, if he wants to fight again, you give him the chance to fight Francis. Right? I mean, it was his belt for however long. He should get a rematch.
I think I agree with that because he dominated that division for a while. So
Right.
I would say that's the right way, the right road to go down, I guess would be the way to put it, because he's deserved that opportunity to get another shot at it.
There was some other guys mentioned, Derek Lewis, whose Instagram is just hilarious. Like, if you don't follow him, he's worth a follow. He was named because he's very good. He's a scary man too. He's got knockout power for days. But then the elephant in the room was John Jones, a Francis versus John Jones fight.
That's the one that I would want to see. He still is one of my favorite fighters to ever step foot in the ring. I would love to see that happen.
That's the money fight. If I'm Dana White, I'm going Francis versus Stipe because out of respect to Stipe, and then the fight I'm immediately making after is John Jones. And John Jones hasn't fought in a while. He needs time to get ready. So I think you give Francis Stipe. Francis likes to keep active.
His last fight too wasn't convincing. Because a lot of people were saying that by decision he should have lost. I think that was he benefited from being John Jones. So that would be I'd be very interested to see that.
He's actually really lazy because he's so good. He just doesn't work hard. I don't think he really works hard at it anymore. I don't think he really cares about fighting anymore. But so I think that's, you do Stipe, then you do John Jones. But John Jones was on Twitter after, and he was just going off. Like, I don't know where this came from. They had mentioned it was from the post-fight press conference that I think that Dana White must have gave. And I was like, I didn't see anything wrong with this. But he tweets out, he goes, let's see, please just cut me already. And then in a separate tweet, I feel like my wings are being clipped. What type of weird shit is this? Obviously, the boss hates me. Let me take my business elsewhere. And then he goes, would you rather have me around or treat me like shit? And then he goes, I swear the UFC industry has been nothing but depressing for me. Just fucking let me go. I mean, I don't know where John Jones is getting that from. Dude, you were the guy who did drugs. You were the guy who was an alcoholic and a drug addict.
He's also so outspoken every time he gets called out or every time something happens, every time his name gets talked about. He's so outspoken on social media or calling people out, but he doesn't fight that much anymore. He just has a lot of talk. To Adesanya was the big one after that, right? Obviously, unfortunately, he lost that fight. Probably won't happen, at least for a while, but he was so quick he was sending out those tweets about Adesanya. Every time he gets all riled up about people calling him out or people talking about him.
It's just so annoying because, like, dude, you're so good. Like, you're one of the best fighters ever. But it's like you going on Twitter and just talking shit like this. is just insane for you to do. Like, again, you were the one who did drugs. You were the drug addict. You were the alcoholic. You hit the pregnant woman in a hit and run. Okay. Dana White did none of these things. Of course, you should have been suspended. You were the one on steroids, right? So don't blame other people because your problems when you were on top of the world. That just bugs me so much to hear a guy make excuses like that. Like, oh, the boss hates me. No, you're a fuck up, dude. Like, there's really no other way to say it.
You had an opportunity. You had an opportunity to be the most marketable, probably fighter of all time, and you're the one that's tossed it away on several occasions.
Yeah. So, I mean, if John Jones never came back, it wouldn't bother me. But if you're a fighting fan and you like money, John Jones versus Francis is the fight to make. There's another huge fight. Did you see any of the press conferences between Jake Paul and Ben Askren?
I saw it briefly, but I didn't bother to watch the whole press conference.
Jake Paul, this kid, I hope this kid gets knocked out. Like, he talks so much. Dude, you fought 3 guys. One of them or 2 of them, I don't even know. I don't give a shit about Jake Paul. 2 of them were YouTubers, and one was a washed up NBA player. To call yourself a fighter, like the way Ben Askren would call himself a fighter, is laughable, Jake Paul. Like, and people are out here legitimately thinking Jake Paul is going to win this. I have no faith that Jake Paul is going to win this. Not that Ben Askren is a boxer, because he's not. Anytime he fought in the UFC, he was a wrestler, tried to take them down to the ground. His stand-up game was definitely subpar. But he's been in the octagon with real fighters, guys who can really hit. Like, I mean, he has an iron chin, this guy. Like, it's just like when he fought, I think he fought Robbie Lawler, and Robbie Lawler was just pounding him on the ground repeatedly. And Ben Askren's like, is that the best you have? And these are with 4-ounce gloves. These aren't with boxing gloves.
That's what I think too. People aren't taking that into consideration enough. The fact that he's just going to stand in there the whole time, and all he has to do is get a couple of good punches in, which I'm sure he will. But he can just stand there the entire fight. He'll take the beating he needs until he gets the opportunity. And Jake Paul won't be able to take it. Like you said, he's never fought a real fighter. Ben Askren's a real fighter.
Like, Floyd Mayweather made a career off of not getting hit. Pretty sure Ben Askren has practiced not getting punched in the face because he isn't good at punching other guys in the face. So he has to be cautious of that. So Jake Paul is going to lose this fight. This is not, I don't even think this is a question that Jake Paul is going to lose this fight. I hope he does. One last thing I wanted to mention before we wrap this up. NASCAR did the dirt track for the first time since 1970. They raced on dirt. And I'll tell you right now, they should never do it again. Never, ever, ever. That was a horrific race. That was so bad. Dude, it's like racing on back roads. Like, you're just slipping and sliding everywhere.
Why do they even do it on a dirt road?
I think they just thought it was cool. Like, honestly, I thought they'd think it was cool. But it's just so dumb. Like, either the track is wet and you're sliding everywhere and you're getting wrecks out of literally just going around the corner. You don't touch anybody and a guy spins out and it's a 15-car pileup. Or the track is dry and literally just driving down the straightaway, you can't see because dirt is getting, thrown up. Like, it was so bad. And then pit stops were terrible. Like, they had pit stops for like 10 minutes. Like, some pit stops were when you got into pit lane, you sat there for 10 minutes because they had to wet the track. That's just terrible.
It just sounds terrible.
I hope they never do it again. But we also wanted to, we'll wrap up. We'll get into our picks for the week. But we wanted to get into the Masters a little bit because by the time our next episode comes out, it'll already be Friday. of Masters weekend, and that'll be the second round. So we want to give you some picks going into the Masters week, and talk a little bit about it.
I'm sure we'll be tuned into that like we were today for the Jays game. We'll probably get some live feed of that because that'll be pretty electric. Masters 100%. Is always a good time of the year.
It's a great time. It's great. I mean, it's my favorite. It's my favorite, major of the year.
Yeah, mine as well.
So, who do you think has a chance? Who are you taking? Who are you going to bet on?
I feel like
next week.
There's a couple that are obvious. Like I want to say like Dustin Johnson and Bryson, but I think I'm gonna go JT. Yeah, and if I want to give you a sleeper, I'll go Patrick Cantley. And I got another long shot, Colin Morikawa.
I like that. Colin Morikawa. Okay, yeah. I like that. I do like those picks. I will be basic, and I'm going to take Dustin Johnson, 9-1. I mean, he won it last year. He was the runner-up the year before that. I just like Dustin Johnson. I think he's
Is it bad? Like I wanted to take him. I was like, I had a feeling you might, and I also was like, I feel like everyone's going to, but I
think that's your smart pick.
That is a smart pick. He's just so dominant right now. Like, and this tournament, he just plays so well here. You can't go wrong with that pick.
I'll take. I'll give you another pick, Justin Thomas. I mean, you took him as well. So 12-1 to win the Masters for Justin Thomas, and then I'll give you a long shot. I love this guy. He actually beat Justin Thomas in match play. I guess last weekend they were doing match play. I'm going to take Kevin Kisner. He's 141-1, but this guy, I think his biggest downfall is that he gets into his own head. But I think when you don't have the fans there and as many fans there as usual, and you're not doing match play. Match play is his bread and butter. But I do like Kevin Kisner. I mean, I just think his mental game is kind of his weak point. But he's a great ball striker. He's a fantastic putter. Both of those things needed to win the Masters.
Absolutely.
So I would take Kevin Kisner at 141-1. Put $100 down. What do you get, Kurt?
100. Wait, what did you say? It was
141-1.
I'm not a big quick math guy. What is that?
Let me. It's literally just 141. Add 2 zeros.
Oh.
So 14,100. Okay. That's what you'll get. Bet 100,
right.
You get 14 grand. Go buy your mama a Cadillac. So what else? What else do we got? What else do you got for the weekend as far as games?
Yeah, to say it's a big weekend. We're into
huge weekend.
The Final Four. Baseball is here finally. Hockey we're getting almost a trade deadline. That's Monday or next Monday, I guess now.
Next Monday. We're going to do a show on that.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. So I've got a few picks for you guys here. I've got on Saturday, the Avalanche over the Blues. The Avalanche are at home. We're going to take Houston over Baylor Saturday.
Okay.
We're going to take the Cardinals over the Reds also on Saturday. Lots going on Saturday and Sunday as well. We got the Coyotes at the Ducks Sunday. I'm taking the Coyotes.
I like those picks. I'm actually going to take a March Madness pick. Shockingly.
Really? That is shocking. I did not expect that.
I am going to take Gonzaga over UCLA, though. I mean, that's Gonzaga.
The Zags look it's good right now.
The Bulldogs are killing it. I wasn't going to take any baseball just because it's so early and I just don't know. I don't know. You don't know who's good yet or not. So I'll give you the rest are going to be some hockey picks. I think these are all on Saturday. I'm going to take Pittsburgh over Boston. Boston? Really? You exclude when you combine overtime losses and losses, they're only like 17 and 14. Like they're really not that good.
I feel like they got a little more to give. They've been battling some injuries throughout the year, but I think when all is said and done, they'll put it together. But Yeah, they haven't been as dominant, I guess we would have thought. Maybe it is losing those defensemen is starting to
Yep.
catch up with them.
I would also take the Islanders over the Flyers. The Flyers look terrible.
They look
I mean, they
bad.
lost to Buffalo.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take Ottawa over Montreal.
Okay. I like
Yeah,
that.
I like those picks. So yeah, so
So everyone
go lock in your picks.
Get your parlays going, make some money.
Exactly. We want to thank everybody again for listening to the show. We really appreciate it. We'll be back here obviously every Friday for new episodes. So keep on the lookout for those and look at our Instagram and our Twitter. We're starting to post some new stuff there, just new content. So be on the lookout there. Again, if you haven't, subscribe, like, comment, rate, you know it. All right. So we'll see you all next week. Bye.